Welcome. My name is Marisa Bludorn, and I am the editor-in-chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. This evening, we are live with BTG, our BTG, Bridging the Gap Strategizing for Student Success magazine. I have with me our cover girl from March, Diana. She is here with us to talk about her book, and also she's here to talk to us about a unique service that she has for young people, parents of young people who are looking to enter into the entertainment industry. And I'm really excited because we're going to go in deep about some of the things that parents need to be aware of when they're taking their child into the entertainment industry. Diana, talk to us because you did something major a couple of years back. You relocated your children, your family, your entire family all the way from Philadelphia to Hollywood. So you're going to have to catch some of the audience members up. I know some of your people are watching, but catch some of the audience up of why are we here today? What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so it feels like a couple years, right? But it's actually this month makes 5 years.
Woo.
5 years. Yeah, I know. The time went by so fast. Since we actually relocated from Philadelphia over to LA. And a lot of people think it's for my kids and their acting and things like that. But it actually was for my oldest, who is a producer. She's a filmmaker. She's a content creator. And there was, just some an opportunity, that came about that kind of brought us out here to meet some people, and we decided to just move instead and just stay. Yeah.
Wow. Well, now let's back up because you said your oldest. How
Hmm.
young was she? Because she started her career or she started her interest right in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
So how old was she when she got started with her desire to be in the arts?
So when she first, her desire initially was to be an actress. So she wanted to be on TV. She wanted to be the next iCarly, Hannah Montana, all that good stuff. But so she wanted to, yeah. So we started her into theater classes and things like that. And after meeting
After
someone
meeting
who
someone who
referred us to their talent agency, she started acting for about a year professionally. And then on one film set where there was some NYU students, they were doing a short film, and it was a bunch of young kids that were not too much older than she was at that time. And at that time, she was 12 years old. She was 12 years old, and she just kind of fell in love with the behind the scenes part of the process. And they answered her questions and let her get behind the camera. And then from that point, that's what she wanted to do, and she left the acting alone. When we moved here to LA, she was 15 years old at that point. Yeah.
Wow. 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 That's interesting. And what's really nice about all of this is that you didn't count it robbery to say, yeah, you want to go into acting, you want to go into the arts. That's far off, right? Not too many people get the fame level they're looking for. They don't get the stardom that they're looking for. But you and your husband, because let's talk about the Wolf gang, right? Right? Let's talk about you guys, and I'll say it over and over again. I love your partnership in the sense that you are courageous enough to allow for the entire family to have your visions and your dreams, and you go after them and you support each other. And so I just want to say to the audience, look her up, look Diana up on YouTube and see the level of professionalism over and over and over again. Every video, I'm giving you your kudos because every
Thank you.
video, and this is family support because I remember the one picture that you took, how you guys got on you stacked up the dressers or something like that, and you put the director's chair on there and you got the angle that you were looking for. Remember that?
A
You
photo
got
shoot. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you I mean, it was incredible. It made you look powerful. And it just attests to the family support and why that's so important. Share with us about the book. The book is called Raising a Child: A Guide to Navigating the Entertainment Industry for parents of aspiring young people, children. Why is this important for parents to know how to, based on you did it because another thing is, and I know I say a lot, but I'm so excited. Another thing is the entire family is somehow or some way involved in the entertainment industry. After this move, everybody got involved. And so you know the ins and out, being a mother of the child that's aspiring to greatness. What made you, put this together, and what did it take to put this guide together for other parents?
Well, I'm gonna start off by saying I never thought that I would write a book. So that was inspired by everyone else, especially my husband, who he wrote a book himself. So he was like, babe, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. But then I had other parents when they would hear my story, they're like, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Or I'm sharing my story somewhere, and they're like, that's a book. Like that's a book. And I just kept hearing that over and over again. And I was documenting, and just over the years, I have had so many different type of experiences within the entertainment space. So it wasn't just my kids started acting. It was, my kids were acting, then my daughter started creating films that I was her right hand man. She didn't have a whole crew back in Philadelphia. So, I was her, if she needed someone to hold her bag, she needed someone for her lighting, she needed someone for her sound. Like that was me. My husband would when he could, but he was working, so I had that experience. And then I would help some people, through networking. I would end up helping them cast some of their projects because I was connected to so many child actors at that point. So now I was getting the casting experience. Then when we moved here, I actually worked as a talent agent, for some time. And then it was just, I had so many different types of experiences that I was like, I've been able to see it from all different angles. And all this information could help so many people because when I started, it was pretty hard getting information. Like earlier, you mentioned, we just kind of did it. We kind of didn't just do it because my daughter started asking about it when she was about 9 years old. And I had no idea, no idea. So I'm like, it'll go away. Like she's saying this now, but eventually it'll die down and she'll want to be a pediatrician, tomorrow. So we kind of ignored it for a little while. And then we were like, she wouldn't stop. So we're like, okay, we'll put her in theater classes. But I had no idea where to go from there. So then we would hear some of these radio ads, or we would, hear about these open call kind of things. Do you want your kids to be on Disney? We even tried that avenue where, they were all scamish and they would give you these catalogs or all these prices of, okay, yeah, we're so interested in your daughter. It's going to cost 4,000 for this and 1,000 for this. And we never actually paid for it because we would always do our research and find out that it was a scam in some kind of way. So we never fell into those things, but we just really didn't know what to do. And by the grace of God, my husband met that that guy at work, his friend at work, who actually had met our children and he suggested to us, oh, you should get your kids into acting. They have big personalities like our kids act. And we were like, well, we do have a daughter that wants to act, but we don't know what to do. And he, referred us at that point, and that's what pretty much jump started us into the professional side of things. But just knowing how lost we were, how we were almost caught up in so many scams, how confused we were, and then when we would talk to other parents about it, they didn't want to share information with us. We were the competition to them. That's how they felt, and everyone was kind of closed up within that space. So I just wanted to do something that could help parents, and not just help them, but in a more organized manner. Because when I would go online, there's information out there, but it's like, what information is real? It's like so much information is contradicting each other. Who do I trust? Who, and it was just, I said, you know what? I'm going to just compile it into one book. And at that point, I had already been consulting and stuff like that, but I wasn't, building that trust was still something that I was working on with parents. So I'm like, whether they trust me or not, you know, how can you go wrong with picking up a $30 book, get and seeing what's within there, and that information I know would help any parent get their child started, any parent.
Right.
So
And,
yeah,
and the book has a workbook.
it has I have a journal.
Okay.
So I have a journal that goes with the book, depending on where you purchase the book. And the journal is pretty much something to just help you keep your child's career organized, because it could be a
Mm.
lot, especially when you're the momager or the dadager of the child, keeping up with when to renew their permits and their paperwork and their auditions and just people you meet along the way when you're networking and just all of those things. So I wanted to create something that they could keep in their bag that was very easy for them to just keep with them wherever they are, to keep track of everything that's going on with the child's career. So, yeah.
And that's interesting because you said permits. So, what are the permits for?
So, in all of the major filming markets, the kids have to have a permit or like a registration of some sort in order for them to work legally on set. So every state, there's guidelines for every state, but it's always different. But when it comes to New York, Atlanta, LA, you have to fill out like paperwork, basically just saying the kids personal information, proving that you're their parent and their citizenship, all that good stuff. And then they'll give you like a certificate, something that you hold on to that shows productions my child can legally work on set. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's simple. It's
Nice.
free. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it does have to
Wow.
be renewed. It does have to be renewed yearly or semi annually, depending on what state you're working in.
Right. So let's say someone wants to get started, and how would you help them get started? They don't know anything about the industry. They don't know anything about anything. Um, how do they work with you to get started?
Well, I always like to have a conversation first, just to see, first of all, where is it coming from? Is this the kid that has the passion for acting? And I want to know, the parents' background, like what is your flexibility like? What, do you work full time? Do you have help? Are you willing to travel? All those things, because that would be able to help me, like pretty much gauge where they should start, because every parent should start with the permit, because that, first of all, it's free and it's necessary, so you might as well just start filling out that paperwork, because even if you decide not to go forward, it doesn't hurt you any. You didn't pay anything out of your pocket, right? So get that started, because that can take sometimes like a month to even come back to you. And so I would pretty much talk to them to see, like, does your child need to start with some classes first, to make sure that this is something that they really want to do, for them to start gaining some experience, because people don't understand that acting classes is considered experience for the kids, right? Because they're
Wow.
learning, yeah, they're learning, how to pretty much be on stage. They're learning how, they're practicing memorizing lines. They're getting to know how to be given direction, all of those things. And you can actually put that on a child's resume. So even if the
Mhm.
child has no literal experience from being on set, if they've been taking classes consistently over the past couple of years, they do take that into consideration. So yeah, so it's pretty much just a conversation of what does your background look like, in order to say, okay, well, since you have a full-time schedule right now working, you don't have help, then maybe you should start your child in some classes first. Or, okay, I have my husband works full-time, but I'm a part-time, I can work on the road. Okay, then you can go a little bit more deeper right off the bat. Let me show you how to submit your child for projects. And we'll talk about what they need, in the beginning, before they can start submitting to agents, things like that. So yeah, it just starts with a conversation, just to get to know them.
Yeah. Um, that's but you've already shared is very good for someone who just is considering it, doesn't know how to get off the couch and start getting things done. Just like you said, you were at a loss. You were like, okay, this may go away, but now you have at least two steps: get the permit and get the child into some acting classes. Then you also gave a nice chuck a nugget and said, listen, if your child's already been taking classes, that's actually counted as experience. So that is excellent as well. What about like support systems? So let's say, do you handle that too? The psyche behind acting and and all of that, do you do it like support? Because you know how once the kid starts getting active, and I know that your son has been in a few series and things like that, they start getting exposure to things that can trigger things in their in their personality, how they're navigating through all this. We always hear about the trauma and the drama associated with acting as well. Do you tap into a little bit of that? How do you keep your children grounded?
That's a good question. So, this is something that I talk to parents a lot because they see a lot of, the abuse that goes on. The child actors that become, some of them grow up to be alcoholics and drug addicts or getting into trouble and things like that, and they're always afraid like of that happening to their child. And I always try to have the conversation with them that, you know, that's they put that out there, that's media, that's something that they want to for that platform to, that's what they do, they dig, right? And every you have to think about overall with children, there's going to be some children that are going to go a different way than you hope.
Hmm.
And being in the industry could have been a part of that, in a sense that their parents, number one, could have been in it for the wrong reasons. It may not have been something that the child themselves wanted to be a part. The parents could have allowed certain things looked a different way because of the fact that that was their bread and butter. They were afraid for the fame to go away. They were afraid for the money to stop. There's just so many different things. There weren't protections in place, back in the day for certain things. Where right now, it's mandatory. Like, you have the it's a law for the parent to be with the minor children at all times, when they're in wardrobe, when they're on set, when they're in rehearsal. You're supposed to be with your child. When you come home, talk to your children, to always just communicate with them that this right here, especially if it's their passion, to understand that you're playing a character, separating work from play and allowing them to be children, but having that conversation, like some people don't want to have certain conversations with their children, but in this industry I feel like you have to have certain conversations, because you can't have a child being in a scene where the mother is getting abused by the father, but you're not having a conversation about that at home, or they're playing a kid who's being abused, even though for the most part they usually keep the kids away from anything that even seems like looks vulgar and stuff like it. They cheat certain scenes. So like if the kid is young, you may think that they're looking at something crazy happening, but they're usually cheating it in a way where they don't always
That's
have to
good to
see
know.
that stuff. Yeah, so you might be like, well, why would they have left their kid? But a lot of times they're not really even being exposed to that stuff. But a
Oh,
conversation still, have a conversation with them, because even when they see it later, they're like, oh, I was a part of that, and if they don't really
right.
understand that and they don't get that information from you, their parent, the person that they trust, the person that's closest to them, like that's important, I think, and then just having a foundation at home, faith, just really, just if you have a faith, like I think that's just so important, to pray over your children, and just make sure that they're covered. And but I tell people, because I always get I would never put my kid, in the entertainment industry kind of thing. Like I just had that situation happen recently at church. And I just feel like, with my experience and the experience that my friends have had, it's like my obligation to break that, like that stereotypical like mindset that people have about the industry. And like, that's not every kid, that's not every kid. And I'm telling you that there's circumstances that are wrapped around that cause those things to happen. Because from
Right.
what I've seen, and we've been on so many sets, and all three of my children at one point or the other were acting, and I've never experienced, so those things. Not to say that it couldn't happen, but I made sure that my presence was there. I made sure that my kids were taken care of, that I educated myself on the laws. So I made sure that they were they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. And just making sure that I kept my kids close, and my friends do the same. And our experiences have been, for the most part, very good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like you said, it really attests to the support system that's there for the child, and the agenda of the support system. You hit so many different things that are so important for parents to know and be accountable for it too. So, and then you doing the assessment very early on when you said when you first meet with the parent, you're like, okay, I need to assess your availability for this. And then I need to also assess to see what's the child's level of interest and commitment, and passion for it. Those are critical, to make sure that the foundation of the, desire to go in and to move in, is correct. And we also got to talk about spirituality. It's, whatever I always say, whatever it is that you believe in, you better believe in that. You better have tested it. You better believe in it. That's my biggest thing, is just to test it and believe in it. And so I want to talk about your children's experience. What can you share with us about the projects they've been in and on, and anything that's up and coming that we can actually look out for and support you?
Yeah. So, right now, well, the baby. So, and that's another thing, as far as, the children and making sure that the communication is happening. And, she is taking a break. So the baby's taking a break because right now she ain't feeling it, you know? And
Okay.
I think it's really important to make sure that it's what the kid wants. It's what the kid wants. And we kind of have to find a balance between, are you just being lazy and do you want to quit because we're not going to support that? And it's just you don't have the passion for it. And if you don't have the passion for it, we're not going to force you to do it. So right now, she's taking her second break during her whole career since she was 6 months old. Um,
Oh,
but my son, he is currently filming season 4 of Bob Hearts Abishola, and that is on CBS. The new season will air, I believe, like September 17th,
okay.
8:30 Monday nights, CBS. And then he also recently, and I think at this point I can talk about it because it's going to air soon. He is going to be on the Nickelodeon show That Girl Lele.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the first time I'm speaking about this out loud. So he's going to be, I think it's episode 7. Yeah, episode 7. So look out for that. And that was really cool because that was a new network to add to his resume.
Okay.
And then my oldest, she has been, oh my God. I honestly, I don't even get to talk to her too much anymore because she's been working. I know the latest big project that she told me about was Nordstrom. She did something for Nordstrom. She did something recently for Target. Yeah, so she's just, filming and creating right now. And extremely proud of her. She is going on 21 this year, and
Oh,
she's running her own
oh.
company and doing really well right now. So yeah.
Yeah, and I know that she's gotten all of the wisdom, gleaned all of that wisdom from you, Diana, because when I
Thank
say to you, you are a powerhouse, and I've said that from the time I met you, is I see you. Like I see you, and all of your greatness and your approach to how you were going to not just be a mom to your family, but be an advisor. And so I love it. I love it.
thank you.
I have a thought in my mind, but I'll share it with you backstage before I say that publicly. But you remind me of someone that I feel don't agree with everything that they like kind of do, but the class level, the level of how you represent the family. And so, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, she is the cover girl for BTG, Bridging the Gap, Strategizing for Student Success. BTG is a magazine under the Own It magazine and publishing company that focuses on career development and leadership development of our youth. The magazine extends itself out to understanding that it does take a village to raise a family. It does take a village to raise a child. And so inside the magazine are all sorts of resources for college opportunities, career opportunities, internships, and all of that other good stuff. And Diana was gracious enough to be beautiful and honor. Listen, girl, that was a bold picture. I said, I,
My
I
daughter
said,
took it. My daughter
oh,
took it for me. Mm-hmm.
honey, it's gorgeous. Drop dead
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
Love that cover.
Thank
And so she is here, and she is the best-selling author of Raising a Child Star. It's a guide to navigating the entertainment industry for parents of prizing young people, young children, and the like. And so, talk to us a little bit about, you know. Um, your journey. What were some of the challenges when, like, let's say if a family or a woman or a family is looking at what you did, you took your family from one state and took them clearly across the country. um that took a lot of courage.
you.
It took a lot of faith, because I know that there were many people say, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you getting ready to do this?" So let's just keep it real and talk about the glory and the story about the actual steps and stages and all the challenges and triumphs that you experienced in that process.
Oh goodness. Whew. Um, yeah, there was a lot of challenges. I feel that throughout the whole process, like God was literally preparing us for what was to come. Um, like literally, it's like everything kind of happened kind of like a puzzle, and my background is cosmetology. So before we started all of this, I had just opened up my beauty salon. I was so excited. I had worked so hard and so long for it, and my salon was 4 months open, and I found out I was 3 months pregnant with a child that I was not expecting. It was a total surprise. And then my husband tells me that he's joining the military. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Cause like, I finally get myself together and what I thought that I was supposed to be doing. And I just get like these blows, and well, which I thought was blows at the time, but now I understand exactly, and I'm grateful for it. But at that time, I was in tears. But it ended up being that I had to close my salon that same year, because the same month that I was having the baby, my husband was actually leaving for a few months to the military. So I had to close down the salon. And I think that that was important because just a few months after that is when my husband met his friend. And then we literally, within 6 months of me opening the salon, is when we went and met the agent and the kids started acting. And my
Wow.
son started right away. Like when I say we got the permit, and this doesn't happen for everyone, this is a rare story because it didn't happen for my other two, but he booked his first audition, and he booked his first four, like I want to say three or four out of his first five auditions, which is completely unusual. And we were already visiting New York and having to do the commuting and all that. So from there, we basically at some point moved in our family members. So we moved in our family members, so that we as a whole could help each other pay,
Yes.
the rent, pay the bills, and we were using our extra money to basically do everything we needed for the kids' careers, getting their headshots, traveling back and forth to New York, doing classes and all that different stuff. So, that was a huge help. And it was hard having 10 people, two cats and a dog, live in a 3-bedroom house. But I understood why we had to do that later. And that
Yeah.
was because when we made the choice to move to LA, we had to go from that 3-bedroom home to a 1-bedroom apartment with all five of us and our dog.
Wow.
And that was really like our house was like 3 stories. We had all the space. And then in this place that we moved to LA, we could literally stand in the living room and see the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen. It was just literally one square box for the five of us. And when we first moved, actually, it wasn't the five of us because we split up for a while. So my husband
Yeah.
was still working. So he stayed back in Philadelphia, and I actually came out here with the two girls and left my son at that time with my husband to start the new journey and to just kind of get a footing and see. And I was scared out of my mind, though I knew everything was going to be okay. It was just new. I hadn't even been to the West Coast, never even visited the West Coast at that point. And we had nothing lined up for us other than the opportunity that my daughter had to be represented by a production company. There was nothing there. I had no job. We didn't know how we were going to pay the rent. My husband was trying to sell the house in Philadelphia. And I literally moved at 19 from my mother's house to in with my husband. So I never had lived on my own. And there
Wow.
was no timeline for when he was going to come join us because he was a police officer in Philadelphia. So there was no timeline. Like, I know I could be there in 6 months. I know it was like he was in the middle of a process at that time. He was injured from work and everything was completely up in the air. Completely. And we made that choice to move within, like, we had went out for this film festival in St. Lucia, the first time I had even left the country. And when we were there, it was for my daughter, her film was being presented there. One of her films, she was getting an award. And I got to see a different, just something different. And I'm like, what is out there? Like, this is, you know what I mean? I'm like, I see the possibilities, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden now we were internationally, doing work. And I'm like, there's more to what we're doing. And when we made that decision to move, we moved within 30 days from coming back from St. Lucia. And nobody believed that we had just made that decision, but we literally did. Like, we had the conversation with my husband. I was just talking to him about simply coming out here for like a month so that me and my daughter can just meet some people. She had an opportunity to come meet the production company. We're like, we just want to maybe do a small project. And he was like, no, because he's like cop, he's ex-military. No, you're not going out there without me. And in that same conversation, he said, you know what? You guys should go and just stay. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like, I've always told my daughter I was going to get her to LA by the time she was 16. She's going to be 16 in December. We're in August. Just go. I'll do what I can to keep you guys out there and I'll sell the house. Just go. And
Yeah.
we just made that decision at that moment and moved like a month later, like left a month later. We packed up the SUV with everything that we could pack and we drove across the country. And nobody believed that we had just made that. This, like, who does that, right?
Yeah.
But
People
when we
who
moved
are
here,
Diana, people who are hungry, who finally got exposed to something different and said, "Look, I'm willing to trust God. I'm going." And
yeah,
probably within that conversation, God just really spoke to him and started saying, "Yo, dude, look, she's gonna be 16. This is what you said." So within that conversation, all of that started coming out. And those people who are like-minded like you, we get it. We get it. We know exactly why you did it, because you saw an opportunity and you seized the moment. You seized the moment. And I am, like I said, I am so very proud of you. I'm proud of you having the courage to do it. Um, you guys are a dynamic team. I love you guys to death. You're a dynamic team. And so, you have to come back. You have to come back. We got to keep talking, because awareness doesn't come with one conversation. It comes over and over and over and over again. And I had Wednesday on the power of prayer, I had one of my mom's good friends. And when my mom was passing away, this woman, she showed us how to pray. She showed us how to trust God, as my mom transitioned. And she said to me, "Marisa, we really didn't understand what you were doing when you first started. When you first started going live, we were like, we know what you were doing." She said, "But you know what, Marisa? We get it now. Now we see it." And it's these conversations that we have to keep having, outside of us doing the work. We have to let the world know why our work is needed and why people need to work with us so that they can have insight. You didn't go through what you went through just for you. You went through it because God knew he could trust you to be someone who is authentic, full of integrity, trustworthy, and one who really cares with the whole heart. right? And so parents, I'm going to say to you this is, like I said, you're hearing me. I have so much respect for Diana and the work that she does, and so much honor. I feel so honored to have her taking center stage and owning it with me, being on the cover of BTG. I'm always harassing her. Hey, 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 here I am. Diana, come over here. I need to shine some light on you, sis. And I do that because you have something that the world needs to hear and see. And parents, if you are looking to get your child into the entertainment industry on whatever level, you need a coach. You need someone who has been there, done that. Not that someone who's just had training in it, but she's telling you, Diana has just shared with you her story of how she actually went through the process. She has a book and a journal. She's not only thought enough to tell you what you need to do, but she also showed you how to organize it so you're not overwhelmed with putting this all together. And so, Diana, your closing thoughts. Share with our audience how they can connect with you. Um, on the ticker tape has been your information, your website. Share with people how they can follow you, and then also your Facebook group. So share with them if they want to get into a community, get to know you better, build a relationship with you. Talk to them about your Facebook community.
Yeah, well, we're building a Facebook community. It's a private community. Right now, I think we have like over 700 parents in there right now. So we're trying to build a community where people can ask questions and feel safe, get information, get resources. So that is a really good place to be, especially if you want, because first of all, I'm going to read everything, right? So not just anything is going to be answered, and you're going to just be just as confused as if you looked up on Google. We're going to get you the information you need, and if I can't answer the question for you, I'm going to do the research and come back with the answer. Right now, I have so much content that's out there. We have a TikTok, Raising a Child Star. We have a YouTube channel, Raising a Child Star. I'm on Instagram as myself, Diana Wolfe, but we also have a Raising a Child Star Instagram. Uh, we have, if you want to visit the website, if you want to purchase the book, right now we are running a promotion that if you buy the book from the website, raisingachildstar.com, you will actually get the journal for free, right? So you can purchase this on Amazon and it is on Audible, but if you purchase it from the website, raisingachildstar.com, you'll get the journal for free. So we have that. But, other than that, on all those platforms that I mentioned, you can always DM me and ask me a question and I will answer it. If you want a consultation, I do give free 30-minute consultations for the first time. And you can find that link to schedule on raisingachildstar.com as well.
Wow. Awesome. 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 So we just want to say thank you. We will be having her back on this platform. This is the BTG, Bridging the Gap Strategizing for Student Success platform. And she was our cover girl for March, but you can see her regularly inside the magazine on a regular basis. And like she said, go to the YouTube channel. You can also go to you. She has some phenomenal videos that are filled with a wealth of information from start to finish, from 101, raising a child star 101 to being fully experienced. Because trust me, when you're featured in the Own It magazine, in any magazine, I'm stalking you. So I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at pictures. I'm looking at content. I'm looking at everything, because that's what an editor-in-chief does. An editor-in-chief does vet their people. And you are a quiet storm, and I'm so thankful for having you, and I'm looking forward to having you back on a regular basis. I love you so much, Diana, and I'm so proud of you and all that you're doing. And I will be telling my granddaughter, and not only will I tell my granddaughter, but I'll be watching your son on Nickelodeon too.
Listen,
So,
thank you
ladies and
so much.
gentlemen, yeah, you are so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Thank you so much for being a part of our show tonight. We really appreciate you. And we will be back next week. Next Thursday, we'll be live in color. Good night.